candidates, both candidates had been too close to each other. So this is one of the indicators that the elections had been truly competitive. And we appreciate the positive evaluations for the administration of the election process, and we fully agree with that, as well as other observation reports indicate the same. So, as you all know, Georgia elected first woman president in its history since the republic established. And I would like to inform you, in addition, ladies and gentlemen, that the ruling party in Georgia supported independent candidate for the presidential elections. So media had been very active, as indicated, covering campaigns on both sides. And the problem with the media coverage, as well as in the social media, had been a great extent of disinformation and abuse and personal attacks toward the female candidate. As a final comment, I would like to repeat that we rest very much assured that we will work together with OSCE ODIHR to address all recommendations, the priority recommendations, as well as other recommendations as required. Thank you again for the report and for the work completed on the ground.
Well, so the next report will be from our colleague, Slovakian colleague Peter Osuski, about elections in Armenia. He's here?
Yes.
Where are you, Peter? I'm sorry.
Here I am.
Ah, okay, good.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your trust in me and for nominating me to lead this mission. I was pleased to work closely with Naima Lanjuri, who headed our team of the OEC Parliamentary Assembly observers for the election. I have also to mention at least two people from the core team of OECE, namely Irina Sabashuk and Andreas Baker, who stood behind us during the whole election and who did a very good job. Needless to say, after the dramatic but peaceful change of power in Armenia last spring, the December elections were very consequential. Our main conclusion were that the elections were held with respect for fundamental freedoms and enjoyed broad public trust. We stressed that this needs to be preserved through further electoral reforms. Our open political debate, including in the media, contributed to a vibrant campaign, although cases of inflammatory rhetoric online were of concern. The general absence of electoral malfeasance, including of vote buying and pressure on voters, allowed for genuine competition. Despite the shortened time frame, the elections were well administered. Election day proceeded calmly and peacefully, with all stages assessed positively by almost all of our observers, indicating general adherence to the procedures. It was overall a very positive experience for our teams. Many of the people we met with remarked on the open atmosphere during the campaign that enabled real substantive debate. We were also repeatedly told about the political will expressed by authorities, electoral contestants and voters themselves to discourage the selling and buying of votes, which had been a problem in Armenia in the past. This was a very welcome change. As I announced on the day after the election, the real winners were clearly the people of Armenia, who brought good spirit and energy to the election. And at the end, I have one very personal impression. Standing in the front of the big TV screen, I stood beneath our translator, a young lady, a university graduated mother of child, and looking at the numbers rising for the winning party, I somehow felt that I am witness of Armenian miracle. And at the end, I saw on her cheeks tears of happiness. So it was nearby of 20 elections I observed in the last 20 years, the most impressive election I ever witnessed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Peter, for your interesting report. And now, dear colleagues, with this, we concluded reports from the election observation missions. If anybody wanted to speak on Armenia, please.
Thank you. How many minutes do I have? 1 minute, right? Yeah, okay. First, let me thank our colleagues from the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly led by Mr. Rosuski and Ms. Landry, who were in Yerevan in Armenia past December to observe and to share the success of these extraordinary elections. And while saying extraordinary elections, I'm not only referring to the fact that those were snap elections, but also the fact that those were the most democratic elections, national level elections that were conducted in Armenia. And this was recognized both internal observers, external observers, candidates, and most importantly by the public and by the citizens. I want to emphasize that our political force and newly formed National Assembly considers this as an important milestone, but just as a first milestone on the long road towards institutionalization of the achievements of the revolution. We are very well aware that there are important shortcomings, significant shortcomings in the electoral code, in the legislation, related legislation, including law on parties, referendum, etc. And this National Assembly is willing to initiate very important reforms to ensure that the political institutions in Armenia are more transparent, more accountable, and more representative. I want to underline only few areas that we are going to concentrate on, including campaign financing, encouragement of women participation and representation both on the national and local level, revision of thresholds to the parliament, and I want to emphasize that the role of OSCE, Parliamentary Assembly and its other bodies, as well as member countries, are very important, and we look forward to very close cooperation in future in undertaking these important reforms. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And just finalizing this section, we are, of course, not limiting ourselves, and it's idea, not my idea, but idea of many delegations, observer delegation leaders and others, that we should also increase our follow-up capabilities, because we're going there offering the critical views, also offering our support, expertise, and then what's happening sometimes we don't know. It's, of course, it's on Odir's side, but also on the PA side. We have big responsibility when we're presenting our conclusions to the public. And that responsibility we feel, and that's why we'd like to act also in that direction. So to have this parliamentary oversight, if it's anything, as you said, my dear Armenian colleague, if it's implemented, we see attempts, we see cooperation, that is always appreciated.